in this country. I want to tell Kenyans and friends like Manyora to open their eyes and see what is happening. The men and women on the presidential race who can speak to the suffering of Kenyans very honestly and who can provide a proper bearing for economic recovery, both at the macro and micro level, will attract attention of Kenyans. If you look at the mood of Kenyans today, in any other transition, it is completely different. In 2002, Kenyans teamed up together to put in a government that was going to change the situation the way it was in terms of the economy. And that's why Kibaki was elected, even on a wheelchair. That was a kind of a revolution at that time. This transition of 2022 is coming at a time when the economy is so complicated and it's affecting poor Kenyans. And when I talked of the combination of the duo of William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi, with the latest agenda that has been so emotionalized and it is resonating with the people of Kenya, that is what I'm saying. It's providing a basis for a total revolution. Let's look at the economy as it is at the moment. Government is borrowing to finance recurrent. Government is borrowing to finance recurrent and the development. We are not financing production. And we have said very rightly, if we can focus on protecting the fish industry here in the country, if we can focus on protecting the sugar industry, look at the sugar industry and the farmers, sugarcane farmers, look at the dairy farmers, look at the maize farmers, look at coffee, tea, and a country that is run by cartels in almost literally every sector. We were seeing why one entrepreneur did not win the tender for Mumias. We are talking about a country full of cartels. And this has been talked about by both William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi, that we've got to deal with these cartels, we've got to eliminate them and spur production. If you spur production and protect the goods, promote the agro-processing, value addition, and that's very clear, you will be creating revenue not only for the state in terms of taxation, but also for the people. And in turn, you will be able to get then raise revenue for both for development and also for recovery. You will be growing the economy. But look at it. When Moi retired, the domestic debt was standing at 650 billion shillings. Let us go into figures. And when Kibaki retired, after 10 years, Moi was 24 years, but he left the country at 650 billion. When Kibaki retired at the end of 10 years, the debt was standing at 1.25 trillion shillings. Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, the borrowing is now at 11 trillion shillings, 2 trillion above the legal ceiling provided by the National Assembly. This is not only a breach of the law, but it is auctioning the country. In fact, if we don't watch out, Kenya can go the Greece way. And this is a very serious agenda. And therefore, when we talk of a revolution and looking at all these issues, you have said Mudavadi was very bitter. It invites what is obtaining within government and the framework of the economy, and nobody is coming out very strongly to point out at these and focus on how to recourse the economy and spur growth. It is growth that we require, and protection of the micro, small, medium enterprises, protection of the farmers. You can't just and therefore,
no, just let me intervene a bit.
And therefore, Debal,
yes,
and therefore, Debal
is in line with what
and
you're
therefore,
saying.
Debal, we only don't talk about it. Will not invite just mere transformation, but it will invite proper thinking, proper alliances and a proper framework that really will deliver on this. And this is not going to be a work.
Just a moment, Sosion. Let me allow me to butt in and ask you a question in line with that. You know, you can actually be here and really, you know, talk a good game about how the economy is, you know, really tanking, the debt is skyrocketing, hitting the ceiling as well and beyond. But you tell me that why is the House, the National Assembly, very, very slow off the mark to try and steamroll that particular bill that came to the fore that is being sponsored by Nambale Member of Parliament, Sakwa Bunyasi, yeah, on debt management in this country. For one good year, and we've had even Musalia Mudavadi himself saying he has been taken in circles. We have also Mgwen, Member of Parliament, who came up with the capping of a debt ceiling. We still have these bills in the House. But you, the legislators, you're not really acting on it. And here today you're telling us, oh,
look at it, Look at
we have a runaway debt.
First of all,
and you're not even
runaway debts by the executive.
Sorry?
Runaway debts, and the ceiling was lifted. And of course, I'm a member of the National Assembly. There was a lot of lobbying, and the debt ceiling was raised from 7 trillion to 9 trillion. The ceiling currently is standing at 9 trillion. But the government has spent, it is at 11 trillion. And that's a matter of serious
That's why I'm
concern.
asking you. That's why I'm asking you. You have a bill in the House that can actually tame that. Why can't you effect the particular bill?
Fundamentally, I've given you a clear picture of what is happening in terms of the ceilings from. It's the responsibility of the executive.
I'm asking you a very pointed question.
Let me ask you a very simple question. If the House
don't
has
ask me
given,
a question over my question. Answer my question first.
If the House has put a ceiling of 9 trillion, why does the executive spend and overshoot and spend at 11 trillion? Then gloriously you tell us about it.
Because you've given a loophole yourself. So because there is nothing, there's no framework to tame the executive.
And this is what all of us should appreciate.
Sosion.
If indeed Moi left 650.
All right, let's hear from let's hear from Hamad.
If indeed Moi left 60 billion, and Kibaki, after doing so much, left a debt of 1.2 trillion, and now we are at 11 trillion. What has 11 trillion done in this country? I think this falls squarely at the doorstep of the executive, and we must appreciate Dibal, and that's why we are.
Thank you. Let's say, but we have
we have complicated the economy in the name of development. And in the name of excessive borrowing,
I think at this moment, Nene, I'll just give you a lecture and then you continue, because now it seems now this is not a conversation. It's a lecture. Let's hear from Hamad Manyora.
So I have told you where Sosion is coming from. You know, Sosion is a good man. He knows I know he's a good man. He's my friend. Sosion, beginning with your arithmetics of Mudavadi and Ruto joining together, it's not a mathematical equation. That's not enough. We look at a political equation. So you must be asking yourself, is it just enough to put Mudavadi and Ruto together, then you say is a winning formula, equation, because the mathematics say so? It is political. How much value will Mudavadi bring to Ruto, for example? Are you imagining the Luyas will follow Mudavadi to UDA and vote for Ruto, because the Luyas were also thinking Mudavadi was going to be the presidential candidate. Now that he's going to play second fiddle to Ruto, do you think the Luyas will all flock there when he's not even going to be the running mate? Because the arithmetics and the politics makes it difficult. For example, Ruto cannot be running mate. So will he surrender? After all the investment, the infrastructure, the energy, the resources, the time spent, he can leave this thing, let me just finish, that he can leave this thing to Mudavadi. So that is actually out of the question. So what is left? Would he make Mudavadi running mate? Certainly not. Because then he will antagonize a Mount Kenya vote. Without Mount Kenya, Ruto has no chance of becoming president. So there's no way he will risk all that to give Mudavadi, who you are not even sure what will bring on board. So then you must look at the politics and see that Mudavadi is bringing little, if anything, to Ruto. And for that reason, you cannot use a mathematical equation to say you put Mudavadi and Ruto together, then you are home and dry. Let's leave that. Let's go to the economy, which you are making you people your pet topic, and which I told you are not convincing anybody. Look at the debt. The figures, I don't know the figures, but I'm sure along the line, some of them you are wrong.
No, you should not.
There are those you are wrong. A bit, you know, I began by saying
11 trillion.
I know we can, for argument's sake, we know Moi left very little in terms of debt compared to what we have today. We know Kibaki left about 1.7, not necessarily 1.2. It's about 1.7, 1.8, something like that. But we equally know the bulk of the debt we have today was taken when the man you are saying will save this country was deputy president. And in his own words, you could even think he was the one who was running the country. Because he says once he left the government, everything stopped. And the bulk of this debt was taken when he was deputy president, assumedly running the government. So how will he now turn around and be the one to deal with our debt if he's the cause of that debt? You must also appreciate, Sosion, the borrowing that was done in the Huruto first term. Most of this money was squandered in over-costed projects, in mega corruption. The corruption we witnessed in the first term of the Uhuru government, it is something out of this world. Nobody could have imagined this kind of theft could go on in a country in the 21st century. Okay? When you talk about 11 trillion, I'm not so sure. I've seen figures from the Treasury that do not seem to suggest you are right. And we have been asked to believe the figures from government. What I know you are alluding to, and unless I'm wrong, that there are certain government guarantees, you know. Governments all over the world guarantee certain loans, certain bodies and institutions and agencies that then will seem to push the debt. How that is structured within the understanding of debt, I do not know. But finally, it will be telling Kenyans a lie very early in the morning, like now, those who are woken up to watch us, that the money has done nothing. You and I know we have overborrowed. Everyone in this country knows we are, not only have we overborrowed, but we have used this money badly. But even with that, it will be dishonest to say there is nothing this money has done. It will be dishonest to say Kibaki left a debt of 1.something trillion, 1.2 for you, 1.7 for me, whatever it is, certainly below 2 billion, and that's what he did can be seen. Can you compare what Uhuru and Ruto have done to what Kibaki did? What is the comparison? You can only point at Thick Highway, a 32-kilometer road. Look around and see what Uhuru has been able to do for this country. Granted, there is overborrowing. There's misuse of borrowed money. Okay? We know how, all of us. But also let us be honest with some of the statements we make so that we can help this country to move forward. Only when we are honest. Only when we also tell ourselves, Ruto may be a good man, and I think he's a good man, and he can take this country mbele kidogo, si ndio? Tunaweza kukubali. But we must also admit that is part of the mess. That is being honest. And it's only when people are honest that they can move forward, that they can solve a problem. This country, I agree with you, this country is hurting. We would not solve the problems of this country in a simplistic manner by telling lies, by being populist, by sloganeering. No. We will solve the problems of this country by being honest, by looking at the challenges we face and coming up with solutions. It is to that extent I kind of see a little more hope coming from Raila than the other side, because they deal more with the policy. They deal more with structures. They deal more with structures than sloganeering. But like I've said before, no side has convinced me they can save us from where we are. None. If I challenge you, and I've listened to all these people speak, let me take you out, the man you are portraying as a savior. One of the challenges facing this country is health. Kenyans are watching loved ones die because they can't take them to hospital. That's a fact.
Yes.
Kenyans are selling perhaps the only piece of land they have with the cancer running amok in this country. People are selling their last parcel of land to take loved ones to hospital. We know that. What solution does your side offer? Just to show you that none of the things you are saying can work. They are pretentious, all of them. They are saying they will revamp NHIF. They will improve NHIF. The Deputy President has said he will look at the contribution and the structural deficiencies of NHIF. I tell you that is not working because NHIF is a fraud, it is a business. So if I was President Manyora, what will I do? I will dismantle NHIF because I'm being honest to Kenyans. I will look at the hospitals we were left, beginning with King George Hospital, now Kenyatta National Hospital. All the way, every province had one district hospital, sub-district hospital. Look, every location, my Tiriki location has Hamis Health Center, all the way to dispensaries. Moi came and he expanded them. Why can't I use those facilities and put there facilities, medicines, drugs, get doctors, nurses, paramedics, pay them well. Let Kenyans walk direct into a hospital, get free. It is done elsewhere. That is when you are being honest to Kenyans.
Right. Maybe
none of these guys are honest to Kenyans.
Manyora.
Yes.
I think you are getting deep to the real issues that needs to be done. But I think you are at the crossroads in terms of these political groupings. Political groupings aside, number one, in terms of debts, you agree. The borrowing spree in the Jubilee government has been way out of this world. And what the money that has been borrowed has done cannot be accounted for. And I think that is a serious statement, and that is
and when we're talking about Jubilee, we're talking about Jubilee with William Ruto also in it.
Yeah, of course, but
Yes.
we've seen he has been kicked out by the president. Even cabinet meetings are not held, and is not part of running of government. That's a
So
fact.
you're alluding to the
and,
fact.
and it's known. That's a known fact. If we get down to dissect the power, the structural arrangement of Jubilee, in fact, in the second term, Uhuru Kenyatta has openly kicked William Ruto out of government, and that even now, rarely do you have cabinet meetings. And so the responsibility of the state rests at the doorsteps of Uhuru Kenyatta. But then on the borrowing, it is real. In fact, the next government, whoever is going to be the next president, will find it very hard to balance the balance sheet of the state, to deal with the recurrent, deal with development, and of course also deal with the production and reconfiguring the economy. It is going to be completely difficult. And the facts, these are issues that Kenyans ought to talk about. And I think we need to sanitize this campaign process, and we focus more on issues. And when we focus on these particular issues, then we'll be able to force the presidential candidates to address themselves to those ones and provide a clear position that they will take if elected as president. Remember in 2002, during the transition, and the opposition was divided, and I remember the labor movement implored upon the fractious opposition leaders to come together and provide one candidate. And when Kibaki came out, he made a very clear promise, and he said very clearly to teachers, I remember in DB Nyeri Primary School, that if I am elected president, I'm going to collect taxes and provide free education and pay salaries. Just a simple message. And that simple commitment attracted the attention of Kibaki to many Kenyans. He became president, and he was able to implement what he had structured. Let me tell you, when a presidential candidate makes a promise and even develops a manifesto, and you are elected on that manifesto, you have no choice. You must implement that manifesto. And I think this is where now Kenyans are focused on in terms of all these presidential candidates.
Did Uhuru and Ruto implement?
Who is speaking? No. Ruto has never been the president. And
But he says he was running government in the first term.
I can tell you he was not running government. The
That's what he
president
says.
was Uhuru Kenyatta.
That's what he
That's
says.
a fact for sure. And if you take me back there, if you take me back, even
He
the
says he was
first term,
running government.
and even the transition from Kibaki to Uhuru, Ruto, I know it very well. And there was a quick negotiation for the two to come together. Some of us were involved, and they came together. But you see, at the end of the day, the responsibility rests with the president. And let us not go into the details. Let us deal now with the future. All those presidential candidates who are eligible to be president of the Republic of Kenya, or to organize an alliance and lead a team. And when you look at even this alliance, it's not just an alliance of William Ruto and Mudavadi. There is also Wetangula inside. And we are getting into a process of people taking positions, the manifestos and whatever they want to do. That common conversation is coming up. But Herman, I want to invite you to these facts about Kenya. Look at the poverty index. Kenya National Bureau of Statistics figures the other day indicated that that is about towards the end of December, that 15% more of Kenyans have sunk into poverty. That means 15% more of Kenyans are living below poverty line.
All right.
That is an astronomically high figure. And look at unemployment in this country, the youth unemployment and the general unemployment in terms of figures. It's bad. It is disastrous, and that must attract the attention of any presidential candidate.
Thank you.
And to solve the issues of youth unemployment, you have to do more and focus on production. Look at collapsing businesses in this country. The Shylocks are running the show. Kenyans are suffering from, what do we call this thing, Fulisa. And all Kenyans are almost indebted. They can't survive. Look at agriculture. We cannot revive agriculture unless we take a revolutionary direction. And we need a government that will stand on its feet to protect the farmers of this country, both in terms of incentivizing the farmers and
so what
also
do you do?
Protecting the markets.
Right.
And I think when you talk about the healthcare system,
Sosion will
it
make
is not just what you have. So
model.
Really,
just a moment. You'll make a perfect.
And that is why.
Sosion,
as the president,
allow me to bat it. I think you'll make a perfect model for the Book of Lamentations.
Yes,
right?
correct.
You lamenting today. That will be a perfect
it's
model.
Not lamenting.
Just a moment. I want to ask you. Let me ask a simple question.
Lamenting, it is speaking to the specific issues.
Which everybody knows. We have owned on this table
that
this
as we package the political journey to
but we have said this country is
9th of August.
There's nothing new you are saying.
Who is speaking to this issue?
Can we just give a sporting chance to Herman just a moment?
Who is an angel?
Thank you, Sosion. Thank you, Sosion.
And as the Bible says, all have fallen short of the glory of God. Don't tell us who is who and who is not. All of them are.
Thank you.
Fine, Sosion. We have said even this morning on this here show that this country is hurting. The poverty, I've been telling my friends that you people don't know what's happening in this country because you don't even visit your homes, the countryside. If you stayed home for 1 month, you'll go into depression. The kind of poverty, we know these things.
You even can't sleep at home.
And I've said it is so bad. But where is the solution? The solution is a revolutionary approach to the way we do things.
Agreed.
And your candidate is not in a position to offer that.
Are you sure?
The reason why businesses are hurting is not because of some of the things you are citing. It's because of the Chinese domination of business in this country. Right up to small business. They no longer stop at bringing things and even allowing Kenyans to bring things as distributors or somewhere. You get what I'm saying?
They're snapping up also half of Kura roads as well.
Even small businesses.
Fish.
So what I'm asking you is this. Does your candidate have the courage to look at the Chinese in the eyes and tell them, please, infrastructure work is enough for you. Do not interfere with... You see, people think it is Uhuru who is making businesses suffer in this country. Or because he detained containers so that the people may pay taxes. But people must pay taxes. That is hardly the problem. The problem is that
who brought the Chinese to our economy?
The problem is the Chinese invasion. It's not even a question who brought. It began with Kibaki. Okay. He was the first president to look east. But that is not the problem. The problem is the challenge. And the challenge, look here, I'm looking at you and Kenyans in the eye. I want your candidate to look at Kenyans in the eye and tell us what he will do to the Chinese invasion in this country. Kikuyu businessmen who are blaming Uhuru for their suffering are blaming the wrong person. It is the Chinese invasion. Their candidate, their president, whom they gave us in 2013, has lacked the courage to tell Chinese, concentrate na kujenga barabara na nyumba. Wacha biashara ya Wakenya. Does your candidate, William Samoei Ruto, have the courage to do that? What I'm saying short is, I'm saying a very simple thing. Unless somebody arrives at State House, Nairobi, with the courage to look at some of these players, look at international players who are exploiting us because we are poor and a third world country, you will not make any change in this country. Manyora looks at a revolutionary approach to things. I want, when you talk about debt, I don't want to hear Mudavadi saying we shall negotiate, we shall restructure. Sasa mtu amekupa pesa, unaenda kumwambia we restructure. If he refuses, what will you do?
The end game will be the same. It is
still
the
same.
Yeah.
What I want somebody to tell me, and none of these candidates can tell me, that this country has the capacity to raise over 5 trillion shillings every year in taxes.
It can.
We can do that. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that we can pay off our debt in 5 years. All of it. And we remain with zero debts. Does your candidate have that courage? Will he face Uncle Sam?
Now,
look at countries that have tried to do that. Remember Ceausescu of Romania, whose first assignment was to clear foreign debts. Look at people like Gaddafi. Does your candidate have the courage to look at businesses in this country and tell them you'll pay taxes? Because they don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. It is me who pays my small tax from my small salary. The people who should pay tax avoid tax. You know, avoiding is not a crime. They avoid tax by all sort of ukora. Does your candidate have the courage to face the business community in this country and make them pay taxes so that we have enough taxes to reduce our debt burden? Talking about Kenya has a lot of debt, we have overborrowed, that is just talk.
All right. So, Sion, just a moment. In the next government, if it happens to be the deputy president that will be the president, I see you may be taking that particular docket of the Ministry of Education. No, here's my question. No, let me just ask you a simple question.
Yes,
no, yeah. You've been so inordinately against the CBC.
And I'm against the CBC.
And you're against the
Today,
CBC right now.
Yes.
So in Ruto's presidency, will we see the CBC being scrapped?
CS
Sosion, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education.
Don't tell us because. Tell us what will you do as a minister?
The current CBC that was brought in on the basis of business, and it is being imposed on third world countries to open windows for businesses.
So what will you do?
It must be stopped to protect the sovereignty.
Will your
of the
president
state.
allow you?
You must recourse and reconsider the curriculum.
Will your president allow you?
As to what UDA thinks about it, that's a different matter. It's a matter. The UDA manifesto is undergoing public participation, and that is one of the items that will come out. It will come from the public. It doesn't have to come from Sosion because the public are now raising real issues about CBC. All of us are aware. Every citizen in this country, they're aware. This is a wrong thing that was brought to this country, and nobody was bold to tell the president except myself. I was very bold about it. Let me correct a notion here. We've not formed government. We are only offering support, and we are looking, and we are persuading Kenya.
So I'm just saying in the event.
And in the event that a government is formed, I will not be the Minister for Education. I'll be the Senator Bomet. And that is my direction. I don't think I intend to work at the executive arm of government.
Well,
I am
but
working
BBI,
for the
BBI
Senate.
still
then,
is, we know the ruling is upcoming.
But then
we
away
never know what
from
really
that,
happens. You could be the cabinet secretary.
because you have introduced a very serious matter about competency-based curriculum. What is competency-based curriculum? Where has Kenya benchmarked? Where are research studies that have been undertaken by the universities. What is the quality of public participation and how was it introduced vis-a-vis Article 10 of the Constitution of the principle of good governance of public participation? With the nature of our Constitution, a curriculum is too serious that it should even go through a referendum after a lot of consultations with the public. But this is something that was imposed. It is being pronounced by ministers who don't even understand what competency-based curriculum is all about, what it takes. It's a resource-intensive curriculum that requires retraining of teachers,
that was off the rails. I was just asking you, as a by the way.
To manage. It is a very serious issue that needs also to be...
A serious conversation, I agree, but not for today.
I would like the mind of Manyora to come to this. And I think Manyora is agreeing that there are many issues in this country that needs to be fixed. He's only questioning which presidential candidate will be able to do this. And that is why we must bring these issues forth to the conversation of Kenyans, so that then they can be able to interrogate every presidential candidate. I don't think we've come to the studio with a particular presidential candidate.
Thank you very much.
We are discussing issues, and I'm asking Manyora right in the eye.
Yes.
Which president will walk to State House and be bold enough to tell the Chinese to keep off fish business and to keep off all other forms of businesses other than infrastructure, so that we can have a balanced economy? And I agree with you. When Kibaki took over the presidency and he worked on revenue collection and revenue protection, the biggest disease that we have in this country is tax evasion by the big boys, the big businesses, the club of the untouchables and the unseen who are doing big businesses with government and in this country. You look at the tax evasion in terms of billions. When the president confessed that the country is losing 2 billion every day, 2 billion every day time is 360. That is 760 billion shillings in our economy. It is enough to manage the recurrent or even development. Now, which president is willing to get rid of the cartels? In fact, the enemies we have is not the Chinese. It is the cartels. There are domestic Chinese in quotes who have been sitting on the economy since 1963. And these are worse cartels. We saw the other day, even with the collapse of the power.
So that's where we started.
Which president, I'm asking you right in the eye, which president or which team is offering a better approach and is capable of flushing out these cartels from our economy within 100 days and telling the Chinese to keep off certain businesses and protecting our fish farmers, our dairy farmers?
Thank you.
All
right. Thank you. We've had you. Thank you very much. I need to bat in. Before Harman responds, and of course, I just want also to go back to the topic, as it were, and just also as a build-up, get some bites of what was happening over the weekend as well. We have reactions on that particular statement that was made at Bomas of Kenya. And that particular also formation of a coalition, so to speak, yes, between Mudavadi and William Ruto. Let's just play some bites there, then we continue with the conversation apace on the other side.
Unapologetically demand that our party boss be granted the respect he deserves, as respect is paramount and cuts across. Yes. In regards to that, we strongly support our capable national chairman, Honorable Senator Gideon Moi, for the grand walkout move he made, which expressed his empathy and selflessness, concern for the nation's unity, thus terminating our subscription of association with NAC party ideologies.
This man called Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, within the trade union circles, is one man who has wreaked havoc with the labor movement. As Minister for Finance, he sneaked a bill into the finance bill, suggesting that workers can be dismissed without consulting trade unions. The employers were free to do that. And that particular bill is still in place to date. So if that man was coming to power, then you can see what will happen. The labor movement will be trembling.
A team player. Umetisha Wakenya wanasema kutakuwa earthquake. Yani kutakuwa mtetemeko wa ardhi. Mimi nakuuliza, mtetemeko wa ardhi ni kwenda kupanda juu ya wheelbarrow? Yani kuuliza kamini earthquake. Bwana Musalia, umetusaliti, umesaliti wa Kenya, na mimi naambia Kalonzo Musyoka, simama na OKA. Wewe ndio utakuwa presidential flag bearer wa OKA.
Kama ni pepo mbaya ilikupitia jana, uka-invite hii mtu, tafadhali nenda utafute wazee wa Kibukusu wafukuze hiyo pepo mbaya kwako. Kwa sababu wa Kenya hata wapi, they will never trust you. They will never trust you. Na kama umesaliti mheshimiwa Kalonzo, umesaliti mheshimiwa Weta, umesaliti mheshimiwa Gideon Moi, nataka kuambia hivi, siku zako za siasa hapa Kenya zimeisha leo.
The speech that was delivered was a speech meant for that particular occasion and to please those who are in Musalia Mudavadi's NDC. So there was no earthquake because some of us, we had received information that even the NDC funding had been well organized by the guest of honor, whom so many eyes of Kenyans and outside Kenyans was not an earthquake. The question remains, can William Samoei Ruto be an earthquake? Can William Samoei Ruto be an earthquake? So, having said that, I can go ahead and say, yesterday Kenyans saw the biblical Samson assertions, which says clearly to me and indeed to many Kenyans that Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi suffers from Samson's complex. This is where, like Samson in the Bible, one becomes so bitter about their inability not to change circumstances around them, and thus result in self-destruction, self-hate, self-inability, and self-immobilization.
Mtu ambaye amekula pesa ya kaburi, mtu ambaye amekula pesa ya madams, wanakuja pamoja sasa, wanasema wanataka kufanya muungano. Hiyo ni muungano ina gani? Na mwingine alikula pesa ya ile embassy huko Japan. Sasa hiyo muungano inaitwa nini? Muungano ya nini? Muungano ya nini? Muungano ya nini?
Nani alikuwa waziri wakati Golden Bag ambao ndio ilikuwa biggest scandal in Kenya ililipwa? Na alisema tusidanganya, hata yeye asitudanganya.
Hivi karibuni na mliona huyo mtu mwingine hapendi Mount Kenya. Wakati tulienda kupigania one man, one vote, one man, one shilling, ni nani alisupport sisi? Si ni Jacom? Si huyo mtu alipinga?
It is a time now we now define our boundaries. They have already chosen their team. We also need to choose our team and know that they are no longer our allies. They are our competitors. So for sure, yesterday was a defining moment. It was the earthquake. We didn't even see the earthquake because there was no earthquake, no tremors. But the truth of betrayal was yesterday a culmination at Bomas.
All right, so is this particular move by Musalia Mudavadi also going to open up his closet as far as, those scandals are concerned, the Anglo leasing, the cemetery scandal, as it were? Because I'm given to understand in the 10th Parliament, that was with the land, that was with the what was it, the land committee in the 10th parliament, or it was with the local government?
Local government.
Yeah, it was with the local government committee. And then that was shelved. It was a heated one. But there is a resuscitation of this particular case that will be coming to the fore, as it were, right now. And even today, I'm given to understand that we will have an announcement from Parliament by a particular MP to also just dust off this particular case of the cemetery. So, has Mudavadi opened up a can of worms as far as scandals is concerned? Because he says he is Mr. Clean. How clean is he? Well, that has not really gone to the full extent in terms of the investigation, but will this now also steamroll that? I want also to now let in Senator Ledama to join us on this conversation. Nice to see you. Better late than never.
Good morning, Debal.
Good morning. Good to see you. It's been a while.
I know.
Yes.
We are trying to build the nation.
Thank you.
People of goodwill and people with the same ideology to be able to lead this country and take this country out of destitute. To respond to your question, I'll be making a short trip to a nearby country called Mauritius. And by the time I come back from Mauritius, I'll be able to share with this country all the loot, or details of all the loot of some of these new earthquake guys. Because it is quite true that during Musalia Mudavadi's period as a Minister for Finance, that is when we had the worst form of corruption in this country. And a lot of these guys think that we're stupid. They think that we don't do our due diligence. They stash all their money in the nearby countries. So I think the Kenyans need to know. There's a gentleman called John Donne who wrote that, you know, no man is an island. And he said, show me your friends and I'll tell you your future. It is quite evident that the kind of friends that Musalia Mudavadi has shown us depict his future. And if we are to go that way, this country will be bleeding. So we cannot allow that. So we've got to unveil who he is. We've got to tell the Kenyans where money is being stashed. And I hope that the anti-money laundering guys will be running to all the neighboring countries to be able to really unveil these guys. This country does not want to be taken back.
So what is your mission in Mauritius? What are you going exactly to do?
Is to be able to come. I'm not going to disclose everything here. I will disclose once I get it. There's so many companies which are owned by these politicians, and they're registered in Mauritius. And the day these companies were registered in Mauritius is when Musalia Mudavadi was Cabinet Secretary for Treasury. And his hand is deeply rooted in all the corruption that we've seen in this country. The Anglo-leasing, you name it.
But they'll say,
I think it's about time. It's about time to really come clean and say...
You only see the log in my eye and you're not seeing the speck in yours.
Absolutely.
This is what they're going to counter you with. Yeah, we have the Pandora's papers. You've been given promissory notes that the president will tell us. Yes.
Absolutely. So, but I think the youth in this country have got to be told the truth. You know, there are so many people here in this country who don't know who Kenneth Marende is. And Kenneth Marende was the Speaker of the National Assembly. And, you know, if you hear what Kenneth Marende said yesterday, he was dismayed by the move by Musalia Mudavadi to join William Ruto. So the truth of the matter is that there's a lot that Kenyans do not know, the youth of this nation do not know. They see us as politicians and they don't know where we come from, they don't know our baggage, they don't know the problems that we've gone through, you know, because we seem to have a selective amnesia when it comes to the issue of political leaders in this country. You know, one disappears for a period of time and just comes out and everybody thinks that person is clean. So I think it's about time. I know Kibaki administration attempted heavily to be able to return all the money that was stashed outside the country, to be able to narrow the gap on between the rich and the poor. Although some will say a lot of people got richer and richer, but we know the people who stashed money abroad were very powerful during the Moi era. So really, we have got to tell Kenyans that no, show me your friends and I'll tell you your future. Mudavadi has clearly shown us his friends, and we now know the future of this country. if we agree to go that way.
Okay, I've lost my sequence. Is it you, Hammer?
Yes.
Maybe just also to ask you this particular question of perception, because I remember a while back, before we had the 2017 general election, I was trying to constitute a panel, and I was inviting Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka to be part of it as well. And we had a conversation with Mudavadi, and I told him these are the rest of the panelists who are coming, right? That I want them to come on the leadership forum by then. But he told me, it was very categorical, that, you know, at this moment, perception is very important, right? I am not an enemy of Kalonzo Musyoka, but you see now, all of us, we are gunning for the presidency,
yes,
right? Perception is very key. So we cannot appear on the same fora, yes, with Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses with Tangula, and the rest of the panelists that we wanted to have for that particular show. Does it strike you that what also Ledama is saying, that that particular perception that he was holding dear, he's actually thrown it, you know, down the tubes, that we can see the reactions from these leaders, that now the association with William Ruto is perceived to be, that is a sort of a pariah. Yeah, people are painting, or they're painting him in a corner, as it were, in terms of integrity at the end of the day. Though we have not nailed any particular case or find any fault with William Ruto, as it were, substantively. All these are speculations.
You know, it's true that perception is almost everything in politics. Unlike the senator from the tough community of the Maasai says, your company speaks volumes about who you really are and the kind of person you might be. However, what I want to avoid is talking about people being corrupt, you know, they have stolen, they have put money everywhere. I have always found it not productive for many reasons. One of them is that Kenyans don't even care. Olekina here is a good senator. I'm not saying because he's here, at least I follow him and I like. I'm meeting for the first time, so I think he's a good senator. But some thief who have stolen public money and everybody would know in there in Nairobi, they will still give him votes. You know, so Kenyans don't really care. It's a bad thing, but that's the situation. So you don't gain much by painting others as thieves. But more importantly, I've always said, and I think I said this on your show, in another world, at another time, that all these people are thieves. So what do we gain by? These are just, you know, there's no honor among thieves. They're just pointing fingers at each other. They're all thieves. You don't even need to go to Madagascar or what to tell me somebody is a thief. It's just enough to look at him. Just look at your lifestyle. Look at where you live. Look at where your children go to school. And tell me how you got that money. I don't even need to go anywhere. It is so. We are caught up in a very bad situation as a country. We are being led by a class of thieves. I'm sure history has shown that societies, countries get out of this. We will get out of it. But for now, it's unfortunate that most of the people who lead us cannot blame anybody. But they can't point a finger, because really, as they point one, all these others are pointing at them. So I don't think it is productive. In fact, if I was the president of this country, I may not even care about arresting thieves. The thing I would put premium on, if I was the president, is to stop corruption, to stop theft. I will make it so difficult to steal that you must be a genius to steal. The second thing I will do, I will make the punishment so severe that the day you drive to your home and you are compounded with a new Mercedes-Benz, even your wife or your husband will refuse. They'll say, please, Olekina, we know you, you are a good man, you are a senator. To ambia hii Mercedes, please, we don't want this trouble. Even your children will tell you, no, Dad, no. Before we take our dinner, tell us how you got this Mercedes-Benz. That is what I will do. That is more productive than finger pointing.
Let me just.
Of course, there will be a few people you'll have to shake here and there.
But in this season, do you think then the mudslinging will really just a moment? Let's say from then we'll continue with you. Yes.
Yeah, of course. We've seen lots of reactions from Musalia's position. when I counted, it's about 6 or 7, 8 events, people reacting extremely uncomfortable about it. And that really is an indication of the so-called earthquake. The earthquake here is political reactions across the board from the issues that were raised. Now, Dipal, you've talked about the opening the chest of skeletons of individuals. Everybody, you take a radical and independent political position, then there are people who are ready at the other corner to try and open some chest of skeletons which cannot be verified. Nobody has sustained a good case in court, and our courts are open, the judges are there. If you have a case against Herman Manyora for stealing, take that case to the court and then let it be proved.
But the late John Gakuo was a town clerk of Nairobi.
If you don't, why are you bringing them now? Why didn't you bring them?
The late John Gakuo,
I think we are going to get lost.
The permanent secretary board as well.
We are going to get lost.
He's still in the slumbers?
We are going to get lost, and we'll end up tainting the careers of individuals and citizens in this country by making such that we must sustain those arguments through the courts. Right now we are talking about presidential elections and candidates are presenting themselves. It will be futile to try and open chest of skeletons against the individuals where you can't even sustain. And I think it will be important to focus on what the individuals can deliver and what they promise. When you talk of William Ruto has done ABCD, can you prove in a court of law? Because if we open chest of skeletons, all of them do. We know the Pandora box. We are still waiting for the president to tell us about the Pandora box. And it remains sealed and closed. So let's leave that chapter. The item on the table is elections of 9th of August 2022 of president and other leaders in this country. And there are men and women who have offered themselves, and they're telling us what they're doing, what they intend to do for the country. And I think that is where we should focus on. It is wrong, and this argument cannot be sustained, that you wake up, okay, when Musalia takes a radical position, teams up with William, and forms what is definitely a formidable force, then you rush to some corner to try and open some scandals against. It will not buy, it will not sell. Kenyans are reeling in poverty, and they're listening to leaders who are speaking to their hearts and their issues. And I think that is where you are. So, Ledamo, however long you travel to Seychelles and come back, and you come and tell us a narrative, people will listen to it for a few minutes. But I think what is happening in this country is that the presidential candidates should speak to the issues of the people and give us a clear roadmap and framework of how we lead the country.
Thank you. But we also as media, Ledama, we cannot run away from the fact that you have also, skeletons in your closet. So you're telling us, we forget, not all of you, you're not even pointing on it yet. Because if we have to pass you through the grid.
Let me respond to the two gentlemen first, before you get to
the leadership and integrity chapter.
I think it's a little bit ludicrous, and I think it is very retrogressive to be able to take the kind of trajectory that my colleague, the nominated member of parliament, is taking. You know, your past determines what your future will bring. If you're a murderer, you have to be said clearly that you're a murderer. You cannot tell us that you cannot open the closet. Every one of us have a closet, and since we're seeking to represent people, we've got to come clean on who we are. You know, that is the only way we're going to have a future. You cannot tell us that Kenyans will listen or Kenyans will forget. It's about time for us to change that. And that is the reason why we're saying that every election must now change. We have got to focus on issues, but not to say this person is deep-pocketed, and then later on you say everybody is poor. Of course people will be poor. The gap between the rich and the poor will be widened by the fact that you're choosing to, just listen.
Let him finish.
Can you just, the problem with you is that you just want to talk. I've listened to you talk, listen to me talk as well. If you're a thug, you must be pointed out that you're a thug. If you're a thief, you must be said that you're a thief. You know, you cannot tell me that we cannot be able to disclose information. Kenyans now have got to change, and Kenyans are listening. Kenyans are the ones who need hospitals. They cannot be able to access hospitals because you, as leaders, steal their money. So for the future of this country, we've got to change the trajectory. We cannot continue with the same old trajectory that says that, you know, if we open a skeletons, then it will stop us from progressing. No, it will not. We'd rather get a very poor person as a leader in this country, you know, and defend the right of Kenyans to be able to get free education, be able to get access to health facilities. You know, when we go back in history, some of us who are good students of history, we don't forget that there were cases of cemeteries, you know, which all these, you know, Musalia Mudavadi was implicated. He was investigated by the anti-corruption. I don't know what there is, you know, ended up being the verdict of that investigation, where there was a case of a cemetery, I think in Langata, which was bought for 30,000. It was supposed to be, it was worth 30 million, but it was paid 284 million shillings. So the truth of the matter is this: we have got to change the future of this country, and the only way to change the future of this country is by accepting that those who came before us, you know, the way that they were trying to bequeath this world to us, the current generation, and the way we will bequeath this world to the future generation must be one that changes, you know, not by, you know, giving a blind eye on what happened before. We cannot allow that. Mm-hmm. My good friend said here that as president he would not arrest thieves, that he would try to make it impossible for anyone to steal. How do you make it impossible for anyone to sleep if you do not arrest the who's who of this country and make them a statement, so that everyone will know that this is a very good example? That if Olekina stole, he was arrested, he was investigated. After being investigated, he was found guilty, and he was sent to maximum prison in committee. And not his money would set him free. That is when, my good friend Norman, you would be able to set an example. You've got to set the bar so high. The problem in this country is this: we talk about the judiciary, but we know very well that the poor will never get access to, you know, justice in this country. If I'm a rich man and I'm arrested, I'll be able to hire the top lawyers, pay top dollars, and then what will my top lawyers do? They will drag the matter for years and years and years and years to come. In fact, if you listen carefully to what Justice Martha Koome said, is that she set a sunset clause on all cases, especially cases including you know, corruption cases. She said there's no matter which should be allowed to last for more than 3 years in this court. We've got cases of corruption that have been in the High Court for over 20 years. You know, we need to change the trajectory of this country.
Right. Haman, listening to you as well, I think you, as a public intellectual, you're doing a disservice to this country when you say that, you know, corruption is so backed in the system that we can do nothing about it and Kenyans don't really care. That we've shared our conscience is so seared that we can actually not salvage ourselves from the barnacles of corruption. If such a statement goes on air and people are listening, people who also are victims of corruption in this country, what will they really say? That you have this particular platform and you're saying, oh, you know, corruption is a lifestyle in this country, it is so backed in the system, there is nothing we can do about it, so all these people who are embroiled in corruption and they have cases, let's just forget about them and move on. You know, we just want to hear about their policies and we cannot uncouple the personalities from what they've done before. So let us forget about the skeletons. Look, what is happening in UK right now? Because of a Partygate where we have a prime minister, you know, that will really, you know, fly in this country as a very flimsy case to oust a prime minister. But here we have corruption cases and you're taking it lightly.
I am on record, perhaps more than anybody else in this country, for speaking out against corruption and theft of public property. There are many of my video clips doing the rounds, and I've been doing the rounds for years. My very harsh stand on theft of public property. What I was saying, I was speaking in context. I was saying my friend, the Senator of Narok, is banning public money, perhaps.
Not public money. Why would I be banning public money?
Well, fine. I was just thinking.
That's ridiculous. Public money, you are saying, if you are given public money,
yes.
Let me teach you about legislation work.
Yes.
The only time you can be able to travel with public money is if the committee approves it.
Yes.
Why would I be seeking money? Well, what about using public money to be able to come out with the truth?
What
the
I was
truth
saying,
of the matter is
fine,
this.
I've heard you,
You know, we have
Senator,
to be
I've heard
clear.
you.
Some of us spend our own money
Senator,
to
I've
be
heard
able
you.
to come up with issues.
Senator, I've heard you. You said you are going to travel to some neighboring countries,
Yes.
Madagascar.
No,
My
you
assumption
should have
was
listened to what I said. Not Madagascar,
Mauritius.
Yes.
My assumption was you are doing so in your capacity as member of parliament.
No.
But if you are going on your own, it's good. You love this country. We want more of you in this country. The point I was trying to make is that it will serve us very little. And indeed, those on the side of Azimio, to begin trying to unearth so-called skeletons on people like Mudavadi merely because they have now joined Ruto. I was saying it will serve us it serves no good. There's nothing good we get out of it. So I was trying to clarify. I was saying, if you think by calling Sossion a thief, that he stole all the money at NAT, KNUT, so that the people of Bomete will not elect him, you are wasting your time. I am on record telling Raila Odinga, calling Ruto a thief may not even help you. It is a sad thing that we live in a country where people celebrate their thieves. I'm just saying the reality. It is sad, and I said so. I said it's bad, but the reality. I did say I'm not being fatalistic. I'm saying in the history of nations, these things get sorted out in different ways. Ours will be sorted out. But for now, if you want to unseat a member of parliament, or you want to defend your seat, and your platform is that your competitor is a thief, you are wasting your time. That's what I was trying to say. So you serve no good to anybody, including yourself, by trying to antagonize Mudavadi because I said all these people, I have a problem. I will have really a problem getting a leader. I can say this man is a billionaire. You remember my clip, and I did it with you.
Yes.
That you are a billionaire in this country and you made your money clean. I've said very few will pass the test. If you tell all billionaires, can you please queue? Tell me how you made your money. I'm telling you, you remain with just a handful, one or two. A few people have even called me.
Yeah, and I remember your statement that in this country, for you to be a leader, you have to be a thief.
A thief.
That's not true.
First of all,
that's the clip he said.
I'm saying in a general way. I'm saying in a general way, and even Obama said it when he was in this country. In a general way, I said, even I use the word generally speaking. Generally speaking, you cannot be a billionaire unless you have stolen from the public. It is generally true also. To be elected in this country, you need big money. And most of this big money, generally again speaking, comes from stealing public funds. And I'm not saying that's a good thing to do. I'm saying we are living with it. I have added, to avoid being fatalistic, that we will sort out this mess at some point. I know there are two ways. When I say I didn't say I will not prosecute. I will say I will not bother myself with the people who have currently stolen. I will block stealing, and henceforth, you heard me say that, henceforth, make it very painful if you are caught. How will it be painful unless I prosecute you and take you to jail to eat maragu? But let me finish, please, just a moment. There is another option. It is called the Jerry Rawlings option, the Stalin option. Perhaps that's what this guy wants. So you have two options.
That's
to do it in a normal way, or be a Jerry Rawlings, a Stalin, round these fellows, take them to some stadium, and let them face the firing squad. I'm thinking in the 21st century, the Jerry Rawlings Stalin approach may not work.
Yes.
It will not work. So what works according to me yes, is you stop theft. Make it so difficult to steal. Make it so painful when you are caught. Then in the process you'll begin moving a few things here. People who have stolen public spaces, right? You reclaim them, and so on and so forth.
We're coming to the close of the program as well. Sossion, you want to say something, and then we also marinate around the issue of political parties bill that is on the floor of the House right now, because I think this also, the formation of the coalition, so to speak, of Mudavadi and William Ruto will give life and steamroll this particular bill now in the Senate, because it seems now that it will be acting also in their favor, as it were, at the end of the day. So,
yeah, back to the issue of corruption. I think what Manyora is talking about is that we must criminalize corruption in our governance. And the next president should be able to uphold the rule of law and the constitution in this country. The problem in this country is lawlessness and governments abetting corruption in all forms, ranging from stealing to other activities. And if you look at countries that have moved very strongly in terms of the economy, a country like Malaysia, any form of corruption is punished by being sentenced to death. It is punishable. And anybody working in public service, in government, or doing business with government, will always be very, very careful not to engage in corruption. We were in Saudi Arabia the other day. The constitution of Saudi Arabia is Quran. And you cross even the laws of that country, you are in bad books. And the people breaking laws in Saudi Arabia are Kenyans. Kenyans are so casual, lawless. We believe in lawlessness. And this is the culture that has been bred in governance. When a minister is involved in corrupt deals, what is done is that you step aside and, and you go on with life as if it is normal. And I think we all agree on this table that the biggest disease in this country is that we have entertained corruption. And now the question is, we need a president who will be able to take on corruption very boldly and is punished.
Can you give us an idea? Can you give us an idea?
That is punished.
Give us an idea of who that can be.
If that is punished, and a president who is energetic, who understands and who is bold and is very clear.
Give us an idea.
And that has to be done.
Give us an idea, Sosion. You know, you are a good man.
To give me an idea, I already have a presidential candidate.
Oh, so it's that one?
Yeah, of course. William Ruto has a
You are even laughing. You don't even believe it yourself.
Yes, I'm very clear.
The guy doesn't even believe it.
I do believe. But I was talking, you asked me, I have answered you. But I'm talking on the subject of corruption.
Yes.
The next president should be able to strengthen the rule of law and the constitutional order. And they must pronounce themselves to the public in this process.
Thank you.
You pronounce yourself. Once
Thank you, Sosion. Then, because of time, we're pinched for time.
Then number two,
we're only 5 minutes, then we wrap up.
Then number
and
two,
I want to give all of you a closing moments.
Two, because,
yes.
If you look at the teams that are coalescing around the presidential candidate, one group is made up of conservatives, these big thieves of corruption and surrounding around the president, and you can see the tip. So they are telling us we will want to continue with the way things, the way they have been, and that is why there is every reason for Kenyans to be very careful about what the system is trying to package and sell to Kenyans from that corner. We need a strong team that will bring change. That away from that, the political parties amendment bill, which is in the Senate, is another BBI. The moment you bring in BBI, most of us supported BBI in very good faith. But the manner in which it was handled by the executive and the division that ensued, you can see where it is. I don't need to comment.
Do you think the legislators...
for the judgment.
Yeah, let's leave it at that because of time.
The political party's bill is going to face the same fate. You cannot make a bill 2 months even to party nominations and 6 months to elections and to manage that election. That was advised against by Grigla in his report. That avoid changing laws closer to elections.
Sosion, thank you.
And evidence to apply it should apply in the elections of 2027.
Thank you.
So I can assure you,
let me bat in. Allow me to bat in. Sosion, allow me to bat in. Thank you very much. Let me come to you, Sosion Olekinam, and ask you, because I think the political parties bill now will act in their favor. Do you see the same opposition? Because I think now there's a sort of a coalition really coming up from this particular end.
Absolutely not. I think even before I get
Are they going to be against, just briefly?
No. Even before I get into that, let me just remind my good friend Norman, because this is Hammond. Yes. Because this is a man I admire. I listen to his clips very much. I want to remind him of the Starships story, and I'm sure you know about it. That one step forward, it is normally one step forward towards changing the world. You know the story of a young man who kept on throwing starfish when the waves was quite strong. And what did he say? At least when the sun rises, I would have made a difference in that one person. That is the way we've got to start thinking as a country. Yes. We've got to think in the right direction. We've got to fight corruption, because the future of this country depends on that young boy who throws one starfish when thousands of them are being washed away by the heavy waves. So the truth of the matter is this, and I'll try to be very, very brief. The political parties bill is very good for this country. I have read it. I will be reading it again today. Today is when the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs will be tabling it in the Senate. I'm happy. I look forward to reading their reports. I've read the entire bill. I understand the bill quite clearly. And the bill intends to put discipline in coalitions. It intends to make sure that when two parties come together and they say that we share the same ideology, that is respected. It is not encroached in again, or maybe entrenched in such that they cannot be able to maintain and deliver to the country. What is very, very important about this bill is that the definition of the political party has been enhanced to include a political party, a coalition political party. That is the biggest thing, you know, and it will favor Azimio, which is where I believe, which is where I belong. It will favor any other coalition, because at least the people who come together will not be subjected to only the thinking of the coalition partners. All of them, when they decide to support this coalition, they will all be protected. Number two, it also protects smaller political parties. That if you manage to sponsor a legislator, if you manage to have, like, let's say, for instance, a governor, a senator, and an MCA, you will then be able to enjoy get some money from the political parties fund. So really, this bill has got to be demystified. We've got to tell Kenyans what it really means. It will also give us an opportunity to be able to either use the indirect, which is the delegate system in terms of nominations, or the direct system of nomination, or even consensus.
Thank you.
Number two, which is very, very important.
Briefly,
for me to
we're winding up, sir.
Yes. And then I could give my closing remarks, is that now for anyone who goes through any system of nomination, they will not rely on a list that is coming from their party. The registrar political party will issue them with a certified list of registered members. It will end this business where Association will come up and say he's running against someone else. He's running against someone. I'll listen to you. Just please.
We're winding up. Yeah,
you know,
just yes.
You know, because when he interrupts, then I'm not able to finish. It will stop him from taking a list of another political party to be able to ask those people to vote for him. So finally, you ask which president will be able to deliver this country, which president will be able to fight corruption in this country. There's none other than the engineer who we hope will re-engineer economic development in this country, a person who has got a track record of helping this country. There's none other than Raila Amolo Odinga.
Thank you. We'll leave it at that. Closing remarks, 30 seconds. Herman Manyora, we wind up.
1 minute. I give myself another 30 seconds. So, Sean, you and your team had better wake up the reality. Uhuru Kenyatta is not running for office. The person you are competing against is Raila Odinga, number one. Number two, we must fight corruption. And we are asking ourselves, looking at the people who have presented themselves, who among them offers Kenya some hope? I joined Senator Olekina in affirming that in the minds of many Kenyans, honest Kenyans, Raila Odinga has a record that you can bank on in terms of taking this country forward and in terms of fighting corruption.
Thank you.
In terms of the political parties bill, I do not want to go into the merits, but I want to say this. Your team is banking on going to the courts. You are right. You have that right. You can go to court. But I advise the judiciary to let politics be played by politicians. They should learn from the American Supreme Court.
Thank you.
Courts always avoid politicians and their politics.
Yes.
Politicians are people of bad manners. If the courts think they can arbitrate political battles, they will be buried in the dust. Finally, they must always know that law serves politics.
Thank you.
And not the other way.
Thank you very much. No, we had it on. We actually winding up. Yeah.
I didn't give my closing remarks.
You give your closing remarks. No. Sosion, 30 seconds.
You seem to love this guy.
Sosion, 30 seconds.
Because he's been interrupting me.
I want to tell Kenyans that look at 2022 transition afresh. This country needs an energetic team with an energetic leader, with the right intellectual capacity, with the full knowledge of the economy, with the master plan on how to make Kenyans live better, and also a person who can drive a true revolution to bring a strong and prosperous Kenya. And that person is William Samoei Ruto, together with his team. And therefore, moving forward, you will be seeing the master plan. You will be seeing the master plan. And I tell Manyora and my friends, the people who will decide are not us in this boardroom. It is Kenyans.
Thank you.
And
thank you. We have to wind up, gentlemen.
To the manifestos of the various group, and I can tell you we have the best.
Right. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Thank you very much.
This is the last one.
Kenyans, let me assure you one thing, that this country needs an engineer who will be able to re-engineer economic development. During the Kibaki administration, the Nusum Kati administration, Raila Odinga demonstrated that he's a clear engineer who helped this country be able to come out from poverty. Now, during the handshake period, Raila Odinga, agreed with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta that this country does not need politics. This country needs people to come up together and re-engineer economic development.
Thank you.
If it wasn't for Deputy President Ruto tangatangering, Uhuru would have delivered quite a lot. But the fact that he went and left Uhuru on his own, Uhuru had to be able to join hands with the engineer who we believe will be able to save this country.
Thank you very much. Wilson Susion, nominated MP, thank you for coming through. Also, Olekina Ledama, Senator Narok, thank you for coming through. I really appreciate all, be it, late. Thank you. Also, Haman Manyora, waking up early in the morning and showing up. It's a privilege. At short notice, it's a treat. Thank you very much. And I know, of course, we had primed you that we'll be having Aaron Cheriot. I couldn't make it because I think, according to UDA, they prevailed upon him that they cannot, two Kalenjins cannot appear on the show, which makes Alexa sense. So he had actually to drop out on that. But for Richard Onyonka, I want just to say this, that from this show, you blacklisted, because this is not the first time. You will never appear again on this show. Thank you very much for your
good guy. No, maybe
have a good day. He's a good guy. Allow him.
No. This is the third
him some slack.
In a row.
But I agree with
and we have conversations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
That's a very harsh judgment.